So you want to know what it's really like living in Post Falls, Idaho. You want the good, the bad, the ugly, how it compares against other cities in North Idaho. Well, coming from a local North Idaho boy with a parent who was a teacher and a principal in Post Falls for most of her life, I can give you the details on what it's like to live in Post Falls. It's so vastly different in the different areas of the city, and it's the fastest growing city in North Idaho for a reason. So we're going to get into all those details here, check out a map tour, talk about a little bit about what the pricing is for homes in this area versus other cities in North Idaho. So if you're interested specifically in Post Falls, Idaho, I want to know what it's all about. Let's get after it. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the Living in North Idaho YouTube channel, the original. Wanted to dive in today to a little town we call Post Falls, Idaho. Not so little anymore. It's been growing quite a bit, and for a particular reason. But another reason I really wanted to talk about Post Falls is it's a very polarizing city for a lot of people. Some people absolutely love it for certain reasons, and some people might not like living there for others. So we're going to dive into it today, jump into the map tour, and really give you a sense of where it's located and some details about what you got, some amenities, and some areas, some nooks and crannies and neighborhoods that are unbelievable to live in. So let's get into it right now and zoom into the map, show you what's going on, guys. All right, guys, let's get right into it. We're going to tour Post Falls, Idaho, give you the whole map tour experience, show you exactly what we're talking about, where we're located. Again, one of the most polarizing cities in all of North Idaho is Post Falls. If you've done a lot of research online and you've been thinking about moving to North Idaho, you probably start your search at Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene is where I was born and raised and grew up, but Post Falls is our second biggest city in North Idaho, and it's soon to be number one, I'm sure, for a reason, and I've talked about it in previous vlogs that we've done, but wanted to zoom out here and give you a little perspective of where we're located. So if you're looking to move to North Idaho, you probably already know we are located in the panhandle of North Idaho, really across the border of Washington State. Spokane, Washington is the biggest major metro in our area. We have an international airport here. And that's kind of our anchor city. A lot of times I'll get calls from folks looking to move up here, and they might, from other parts of the country, and they reference Boise a lot. Well, Boise, Idaho, yes, we're in the same state, but we're ways away. So look at Boise is all the way down here. You're looking at a 7-hour drive to get down there from Coeur d'Alene. And so if you're flying into Idaho and you have this idea to tour North Idaho, I'm no joke. I've had people call and say, hey, I'm going to fly into Boise and I'll be there and let's meet up and look at houses. And I'm like, don't do that. So you're going to be flying into Spokane, Washington, and just hopping across the border over to North Idaho. So here we go. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, anchor is kind of the anchor here. It's kind of the PR. Everyone knows it. It's at the very north end of Lake Coeur d'Alene, one of America's most beautiful lakes, right here. But before you get to Coeur d'Alene, when you come in from Spokane, you have Post Falls, Idaho. So Post Falls, when I was growing up, used to be just a real small town. I feel like you would just go. It would take forever to drive to when you're small. Things take so long, and it was just a real smaller, like a kind of a little brother almost to Coeur d'Alene. A lot of prairie land out here, and not a lot of commerce, not a lot of things going on over in Post Falls at all. And little by little, that has changed over time. I'm going to pop over to the satellite view. It's always kind of been known as kind of a suburban town, or maybe a lot of people would reference it as a bedroom community where people buy a home because it's a little bit less expensive, and they will probably either work over in Spokane or Coeur d'Alene. One of the things that's changed recently is just the amount of growth that's happened in the prairie. So if I zoom back here, you can kind of see Coeur d'Alene is over here, and it's pretty much built out, right? So the border of Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls is actually this road right here called Hutter. And there's still some old farmland right there in that little section, but ultimately the border of Coeur d'Alene is Hutter and prairie. So anything west of Hutter, you get into Post Falls municipality. And then, so as you zoom out, you can kind of see this whole quadrant, Coeur d'Alene, and you even carve out Dalton Gardens because technically that's its own little town, not part of Coeur d'Alene. But Coeur d'Alene's land, I mean, it's locked. You have National Forest on the east side, and then to the west you have Post Falls, and then to the north of Prairie you have Hayden, and then Hayden Lake up here. So we're focusing on Post Falls just because it's growing like crazy. Right now, I believe the latest number, somewhere around 48,000 is the population of Post Falls. Coeur d'Alene is around 54, and it used to be, the spread on that used to be massively different. So Coeur d'Alene, at least as long as I've lived, and I've lived here my whole life, probably when I was younger, is in the high 20s or 30s, pretty consistently, 30s and 40s as I was growing up through high school, middle school, high school. And we've reached 54,000 is the latest number I've seen, and it's kind of capped there because there's nowhere else to go except for up. And there's some downtown condo buildings that are popping up, but there's really no space to have that many more of those condo buildings. And so ultimately, I can't see Coeur d'Alene's population growing that much, whereas Post Falls, on the other hand, they're at 48,000, and the reason for their growth in the last 10, 15 years is just because there's so much more opportunity for new construction. So, we're still talking about smaller towns when you're talking about 40 and 50,000, but as you can see here, there's so much prairie land, a lot of new developments happening out here, brand new construction at more affordable prices too. So there's a lot of buyer clients, or there's a lot of clients of like first-time home buyers, families that are just starting out in their home purchasing journey. There's a lot of more opportunities in Post Falls in neighborhoods like this one, like Crown Point off of Prairie, Fieldstone. You have Arcatera over in Foxtail, where I was a listing agent for 4 or 5 years. There's just a lot more new construction, which happens to be, they have good incentives right now, and the price points are a little bit better for those younger families and first-time home buyers. So Post Falls is so unique, and I was mentioning off the top that it's very polarizing because some people just hate the idea of living in a planned neighborhood, kind of a suburbiaville where there's houses are fairly close together. It's new construction. Even though I think our local builders do a fairly good job of keeping, the elevations and the floor plans different, and they look really nice. That's just not the vibe for some folks. And so a lot of people just think of Post Falls in that capacity, like, okay, it's just, cookie cutter production builders out there everywhere, which, yes, that's a big part of it. But a lot of things I like to educate people on is there's some areas in Post Falls that are unbelievably gorgeous, completely different than what you may think off the top of your head. A little bit more like Coeur d'Alene, a little bit more like what you would think of Hayden or Hayden Lake. And those happen to be in this area south of I-90 and close to the Spokane River. So the main, I would say, downtown area that they're trying to develop in Post Falls, which that's another story, is Post Falls is part of the reason it's been thought of this way is because it's really never had an anchor, like downtown anchor where there's things going on, there's commerce. They've always just... as I was growing up, it's mostly like if you're in Post Falls, all the downtown things or events and everything is going to happen in Coeur d'Alene. That's changing a little bit too, and this is the area right here on Spokane Street that's starting to be developed. You have the brewery down here, Post Falls Brewery. You have the Sawmill Grill. There's a Rogers. This map is definitely outdated, this Google map, because there are more things, commercial and retail stuff popping up in this area right here. You have some condos on the river with boat slips. These are really nice condos. You also have this public swimming beach and park, which is gorgeous. Big pine trees, swimming area. It's right above the dam, and so it's kind of a hidden gem. Not a lot of people, everyone thinks about going to the beach and utilizing the water in Coeur d'Alene, but this area in Post Falls, I mean, for Post Falls locals, it's, they know about it, but it's just gorgeous and a great spot to spend a summer Saturday with family. You can't beat it. Another thing is, this is an older hotel. It used to be called Templin's. It was a Red Lion. Talk about prime time real estate location. It was kind of old, dilapidated, run down. It was just kind of never thought of in our North Idaho community as anything good. But if you look at this, this real estate is crazy valuable, right on the river. And as a reminder, this river is completely boatable. You have multi-million-dollar waterfront homes. You can boat from the Spokane River all the way out to Lake Coeur d'Alene and right downtown. And so people, they're going up and down the river, wake surfing, doing all those fun things. So Templin's was just recently purchased by a development group, a local group here, Standcraft, which builds gorgeous homes. They have the Jet Center. It's a local company, high-end builder. And so I'm interested to see what they do in transitioning this hotel to probably a more attractive type of destination hotel for people coming into town. But this is growing. There's another pocket that's growing over here in this area called Millworks, and we did a house tour episode in this area. If you go back and look at that, and it's multi styles of living. You have townhomes, you have single family homes, you have condo living, you have Kindred & Co., which is a really cool bookstore and cafe, and there's restaurants and gyms going in this area. So it's kind of developing into a work, live, play type of neighborhood called Millworks. But like I was saying, in terms of Post Falls, everyone thinks about it as prairie living, cookie cutter, suburbiaville. But once you get south of I-90 and close to the river, there's amazing living in the woods on acreage. You can go down West Riverview Drive, up Highland Drive here, and have gorgeous views of the valley. You have views of the river. You can have 5-10 acres in beautiful North Idaho, like picturesque living style. And it really is cool because it connects to Coeur d'Alene, so you can pretty much do a loop. I tell a lot of my clients when they come up here and if they want to just do some driving around and exploration, and they want to see some parts of Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene, I say do this loop. Come down on 95, get off on Riverview Drive, go to Highland Drive, and just do this loop. You're south of the river. You can even sneak down here to West Riverview Drive where you can see more of the waterfront properties. But either one of these, Highland or Riverview Drive, and connect it over to Spokane Street, and then you can come back up here, loop back on I-90. So it's pretty much, if I zoom out, it's this loop. You got I-90 going into Coeur d'Alene freeway. You come down here, you make this loop south of the river. That way you can really get a good idea of what the type of living is down there, how it differs so much from this kind of prairie land new construction development. One big thing going on right now is Highway 41 and I-90 is a huge intersection junction here in North Idaho because 41 connects up to Rathdrum and then Twin Lakes and Spirit Lake, and it's just been a mess for as long as I've lived here. And so they have done a multi-year project right in the middle of it right now. So if you come visit this year, 2025, you'll probably still come in here and you'll see a ton of, it's a 50-mile-an-hour zone going through here because there's a ton of work going on this area, which we always would call Dysfunction Junction. So another neighborhood that's sneaky good. If you love to golf, if you like that style of living, is the Highlands. There's a lot of beautiful homes up here. Some of them are 90s and 2000s built, but a lot of them have been updated. Really big homes. It feels like a gated community you're really on the top of a huge bluff. You can't tell it from the map here, but this whole area is elevated a ton, and that's why it's called the Highlands. And so when you're down here, you can just see this pretty much cliff up here. And once you get up there, it's a really cool neighborhood. That's another one to explore. Highlands Golf Course, for any golfers out there, probably has the best driving range to just, if you want to go hit balls. It's probably my favorite. Highway 41, major through street from Post Falls. You hop on there, you go north. There's a lot of commercial development going on right here. Real Life Ministries is a huge Christian church, and they have the fields. So if you have kids that play, park and rec soccer or basketball, they have the pavilion here. Is a huge state-of-the-art brand new facility, and they have kind of park and rec sports, a lot of stuff going on, flag football. It's kind of a big area for kids sports there, and it's close to Post Falls High School. So Post Falls High School is right here. It's not a newer high school anymore. I think it was open when I was in high school, so that was like back in 2099, something like that. But it's a big complex, and it's right kind of in the center of Post Falls. I guess it's a little more on the east side of Post Falls as it's been growing. But Post Falls High School is right here. You have development going north, but after Prairie, it pretty much stops. So then you get into just farmland for quite a while up until you hit Rathdrum. So as we travel west from Post Falls, we have another golf course, Prairie Falls, which actually has a brand new event facility, brand new restaurant. It has a lot of cool things in that area that's just been built. And another neighborhood. So I wanted to highlight these neighborhoods in Post Falls that are unique, and a lot of people maybe debunk the fact that Post Falls is only a cookie cutter production builder place. So we have south of the river that we took a look at. We have the Highlands neighborhood. Another one I wanted to zoom in on is the Meadows. So I kind of call this area almost the Dalton Gardens of Post Falls. You have just tucked in here a little equestrian lot for horses. All the homes in this neighborhood are on an acre lot. A lot of them, like this one and this one here, are beautifully landscaped with shops. As we do that, let me see if we just have any listings I can jump into while I'm on the map that are in the Meadows right now. Let's see what we got here. Might as well while we're in here, right, guys? Dang, I don't know if there's any listings active right now in this neighborhood, which goes to show you it's a very popular neighborhood. They don't come up that often. Let's see what's closed. Have any closed in the Meadows? Maybe I can pull up that. All right, let's see here. All right, Grange Avenue. Let's take a look at this one. So we are in the Meadows. Again, it's a lot like Dalton Gardens, but in Post Falls. You can get, let's see, what did this one sell for? They're going to be in the millions. So 1249, 4-bed, 2.5 bath, over 3,100 square feet on an acre. Give you an idea of the photos. So you have this shop living, you have, ton of room for your toys. A lot of times they are a little bit dated on the finishes. I mean, you'll find some amazing updated ones, but a lot of these were built in that era. What was this build? I'm going to say 2000. Yeah, 2004. So early 2000s. But there's also some new builds that have gone in there recently as well. But we'll jump back out of there. So that's the Meadows here, and that's kind of on the west side, kind of northwest quadrant of Post Falls. Another neighborhood I would zero in on if you're looking at Post Falls is Riverside Harbor. Done a few tours in this neighborhood because I love it so much. You have multi-million-dollar properties down on the river here in Riverside Harbor, but then you also have a lot of mixtures of between $600,000 and $1 million homes. It's mature trees. Again, you feel like you're in a gated community down here. You have your own access to a private beach and park when you purchase in Riverside Harbor. And so it's just a really unique neighborhood. Again, Post Falls in the prairie here. I wanted one last area to highlight is right on the state line here. There's a lot of development going on, commercial development. So you'll see you have Cabela's. You gotta love your Cabela's here. If you got little kids, just take them there. It's almost like going to the zoo, right? And you got Walmart. You have a lot of things popping up, an urgent care here, a Starbucks, a lot of fast food places. It's just kind of a big center that's, you know, a lot of gas stations and all these things. And you come down here, you have some other stuff. It used to be the Greyhound Park. Now it's an event center. Where they sometimes actually have concerts and events back here, where they used to have the Greyhound races back in the old days. But they also have some other cool things like climbing, and there's University of Idaho Research Park down here. Buck Knives is a huge corporate center. It's where, if you've ever had a buck knife, this is where they get made in Post Falls, Idaho. So the very west side of Post Falls is an area where there's a lot of corporate development, and so that continues to grow. And that's Post Falls in a nutshell. I mean, my mom was a principal at a couple different elementary schools, so I've spent a lot of time over in this area. You know, it's not that far away from Coeur d'Alene. The unique things about it, why people love it, is location-wise. If you do end up working a job in in Spokane or Liberty Lake, which is right across the border here, there's a lot of technology companies. There's a lot of more corporate job opportunities in Liberty Lake, and a lot of people who want to live in Idaho because of all the benefits it provides to live in our state. They love to live in the Post Falls area because it's a quick jaunt over to where they work, easy commute, and also it's closer to the airport. So Spokane International Airport, if you're in Post Falls on the west side, you're gonna be cut down your travel time by about 10-15 minutes. All right, guys. So that is Post Falls, Idaho. There may be a perfect spot for you in Post Falls. Obviously, would love to help you out and figure out what that spot may be, whether you're wanting to live in the prairie in a new construction home or live in the woods on 5 acres. There's all different types of living in Post Falls, and I would love to get you in the right place, but I can't help you find the right house to buy and when you move up here unless you reach out. So you got to call me, text us, email us, however you can get a hold of us, reach out, because we absolutely love helping people find the right spot and giving you the game plan when you're looking to move to North Idaho. So Post Falls, Idaho, good, the bad, the ugly. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Ask me any questions you have. And until the next video, guys, we'll see you later.